Okay guys, we're back. We're in the workshop and here I finally got the base coat on the EZ8 crazy or German. There we go. A lot of detail. I'll show you all the details on the turret. Pretty amazing. This model is amazing. We've got lots and lots of detail. So we're just getting ready to get to the point where I can start weathering it and getting all the fine detailing and the decals on. We've got my Commander is built and primed. And then we have basically the prototype for the infantry. Get some good lighting here. You can see the detailing on these. These are Tamiya. You can see we're going with classic olive drab and brown. And they turned out really nice, I think. Some more fine detailing that needs done. Some more different shades of flesh put on the face, but that's how they're basically all going to look. It will be carbon copies of each other. We'll do some different types of colors for American infantry, but that's going to go really well. And we'll slide over here to the build table. It's Star Wars Day in the shop today, and you can see the detailing on this sucker. On our half track, we have got lots of parts, and I can show you, for those of you just getting into modeling, I encourage you to stick with it because it's fun to just take your time. This component right here, there's your chassis right there, your frame basically, and this is a transmission piece. That transmission piece was in 4 pieces. Well, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces just for that one component. Here's your engine. The engine was in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pieces. So there's 5 components just to build the engine. And we got the radiator, and we're just slowly plugging along on that. Over here at the table, we basically have spun the table around so that the town is facing this direction for the Americans, and this is going to be my test battle for 2 different army lists. One for an American armored tank company, and then we have the German SS division down there with Panzer IVs. German troops are in their half tracks, classic German infantry, coming in to re-secure this town, French town on the edge of Germany. I'm gonna start up the battle here. I'm gonna do my initial deployment and first couple moves here, and the Americans have just come onto the town, so they have no they have no fortified positions, let's put it that way. They can dig in, but there's going to be no sandbags and things like we typically do with American forces. I don't want them to be in too defensive of a position. This is kind of like the Americans were sent up to seize this town. They've basically seized it. They haven't been there for maybe 4 to 8 hours. They really have no real fortified positions, and the German SS battle company has been sent up to take this town also. So we're going to see how this works out. It ought to be really interesting. Alright, here's the initial deployment of the American forces. We're making it so literally the Americans and Germans are kind of basically coming up onto this town at the same time. The Americans have not been here for any length of time. They're literally moving up onto this town. They've obviously started driving into the town with the half tracks. They have not deployed yet, the half tracks that is. Here's my command team. I have a platoon of 4 Shermans on the left flank, I've deployed 4 Shermans on the right flank with 3 Stuarts, and then I have deployed the airborne division. I want to show you these airborne dice that I have for these airborne units. They're pretty cool. Bright red with the AA, American Airborne. And then let's go over here to the German side. Now this is going to be interesting because this is what I'm going to do with the SS Panzer Group here. And I'll show you what I'm going to do. We got our bridgehead there, our main bridgehead going right through the middle of town. And also I have a shallow river crossing here where we can move across. It's going to be difficult terrain, so we'll have to roll for bogs, but I'm thinking what I'm going to try to do is I'm not going to divide my forces. I, as the German commander, I am literally moving all my Panzer IVs up to this bridgehead. I'm going to cross 1 platoon at the shallow crossing. I'm going to cross 1 platoon on the main bridgehead, and the Panzer Grenadiers will be right behind them. And we are literally just going to move right up into the middle of town and seize this town and defend it. We're not going to mess around. So the Americans deployed first, and the Germans have kind of had a tip-off from a insider in this French town who has led them to want to just, because the Americans have clearly divided their forces on 2 flanks, and the Germans are going to try to capitalize on that. So we'll see how this goes. It's going to be interesting, and this is what part of the fun of a big part of the fun of this game is. All right, check you on after the first move, guys. All right, initial American deployment. I'm showing how I'm going to unfold this. I've shot my Stuarts up to this temporary bridge on the right side of the factory complex. They can move pretty quick. They're 16-inch, and then I'm moving up this platoon, the right flank. I've deployed my half tracks and just, moved them up and unloaded my troops into the center of town. Moved up my command team up to the middle, and we're starting to get some indications from the TV level there, guys. I'm watching my Star Wars. We got our command team here. He's starting to look down range, and I think they're starting to see the smoke and the rumblings of the tanks coming. So at this point we're probably going to be moving units into these buildings. Like I said, this is kind of how it would have unfolded in a real battle. We kind of rolled up onto the town. There's an SS brigade, looks like, coming up the road. I'm going to deploy my troops around these buildings and possibly, and more than likely, inside the buildings, especially like the machine gun teams. Where's my other one? My other machine gun team. I got to get him inside of a building. I've got my airborne unit. They're going to come up, start taking directions. We do have a command team here. We're going to start coordinating our activities with defending the heart of the town. So kind of what I'm thinking about is, as the Americans have good communications with radios, we're going to do a 2-pronged defensive maneuver, moving this unit probably up to this hedgerow to defend the bridge. I'm going to try to move these Stuarts down the right quickly so I can use them as in a rear or flanking maneuver, which is the only use they'll be as far as that'd be good anti-infantry units to move up from behind. I went ahead and just fully committed this left flank platoon. They're literally going to cross this. The game is I'm going to try to move behind these woods and flank the Panzer Group to defend the town. And then we'll just provide, at this point, we're going to just provide resistance. I do have an anti-tank unit that has unhooked from the half-track and deployed. I don't know what good they're going to do. but they will try to do their best to fight off the onslaught of the SS group. All right, now I'm going to move my SS group into position, and I'll show you where that's going to go. And today we are having a wonderful beer called Founders. It is a beautiful port. It's just a beautiful chocolatey, nice chocolatey, rich, thick, rich port. So thanks you England viewers for your ports and your stouts, because we sure enjoy them over here. Alright, we'll be back with the German deployment. No shots fired yet, but we are definitely getting there.